Okay.
We've got Herkimer Working Solutions.
Started the recording.
Thank you, Alice. Good morning, everyone. It is 10 o'clock on the dot. Thank you for being prompt and on time. We have currently 66 attendees here with us. Thank you again for being here.
Still climbing.
And still climbing. Got a couple call-in listeners. So I've just been kind of repeating myself for those people who are sidling in. Welcome. Please know that we are, thank you so much. I just saw your message, Jolene. Thank you. I see it. We are communicating with you guys via chat, via question and answer feature. So please feel free to put that information in there. We'll also be saving the question and answer portion as well as some of the chat, just so it helps us to understand your needs for future webinars. Good morning, Patricia.
So let's go ahead and start. Right?
Yes, please.
Hey, my name is Terry, and I am with Working Solutions in the Rome site, and we want to welcome all of you this morning. We're so glad that you chose to join in on this session that I think you'll find will really enhance your opportunity to land a job at the Defense Finance Accounting Center. Thank you also to the Workforce Board and Alice Tavino for giving us the opportunity to use this webinar system and reach out to you. We used to do workshops like this in our centers, although they have changed over the years because the methods to navigate the Defense Finance Accounting application process and Usajobs has changed over time. But we've run lots of workshops over time, and we found that this is really valuable in helping people understand that the way you get a job at DFAS is probably entirely different than the way you would anywhere else in the community. We discovered that early on. The Defense Finance Accounting Center opened in Rome, I think in 1995, after the realignment of Griffiths, and has ballooned to 800 and 1,000 employees with some of the best jobs in the area. And early on, the process to show your relevant skills and experience was obviously so different because they want a really extensive resume. And seeing that qualified people in the community were not getting chosen, we saw early on that workshops would be great. So we've had a long relationship with DFAS. Kristen Zarek, who is Acting Director of Site Support, is a wealth of information I think you'll find, as well as Mona Fraschetti, who is the coordinator for the contact.
Yeah, I'm the director of the Customer Care Center in Rome.
Care Center. Thank you, Mona.
No problem.
You'll find that that the broad range of financial services and system support that DFAS does is really interesting work, and these are great federal jobs, but you'll do much better with your application if you take in every word that Kristen offers as she with her presentation. So there, take it, Kristen.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Hello, everybody. My name is Kristen Zarek. I am the Acting Director of Site Support. And as Terry said, I have Mona Fraschetti here with me. She's the Director of the Customer Care Center. So we're going to kind of tag team the presentation today and any questions that you have. So this session, as Terry said, we've done these before. Several years ago, we did them live and in person, myself and a few other managers. We see the trend where we have the vacancies and we're just not getting the applicants because they're deemed, someone will apply from the area and then they're deemed ineligible because they're just not familiar with our application process. So we're going to kind of walk through that. I have a PowerPoint presentation. It's going to kind of explain the process and explain the timelines, talk about the entry-level positions, and then how to build your resume for us. So I'm okay. So just as Terry kind of touched on, DFAS, we are located on the former base up in Rome. We have a wide variety of DoD customers that we service. The majority of the building is our accounting operation. They work directly with Army Command, Special Ops Command. We're doing more and more with the Defense Health Agency. Sorry. They work with a lot of the civilians at those commands in their budget offices. We also have our finance directorate, which houses our travel pay operations and the customer care center that Mona's the director of. Those employees work more with the individual soldiers. So travel pay, they're talking to the soldier that moved from Fort Drum to Fort Benning or had to go TDY for deployment. So they're more hands-on with the actual soldier. Mona's team in the call center, same thing. They're talking to those same travel soldiers, but they're also assisting with the pay system that we use for all DoD employees. So they're working with the retirees. They're working with active duty. They're working with civilians. So they have a wider range of customers that they're dealing with. We do have a significant number of vacancies right now that we're looking to fill. We are seeking goal-oriented people. DFAS you can make DFAS a career. We have a lot of growth opportunity. We've seen that through our career. So both Mona and I started 15 years ago. We've each held multiple positions throughout the site for Rome. Both supervision and non-supervision. There's a lot of opportunity that you can seek out within our building. Our careers are rewarding. We have really good benefits. So I did not make a chart on the benefits. I'm just going to kind of speak to it. So we do offer healthcare from day one. And most of our benefits you can go out and view as a federal employee at OPM, Office of Personnel Management, opm.gov. But we do have healthcare. There's supplemental for dental and eye. We start accruing 4 hours of annual leave day one, 4 hours of sick leave day one. There's 10 paid holidays. The annual leave increases with your service. So when you hit 4 years of service, you go to 6 hours of pay period. And then Mona and I are pretty excited to hit 8 hours this year. So we get 8 hours of annual leave every paycheck. So it works out really nice, with your career, but also that time off for the balance of work life.
And Kristen, I just wanted to add to what you were saying about the opportunities there. So coming into DFAS, like Kristen said, we've had many positions throughout the organization, worked with many individuals, but the opportunities are there, including school. So we're both working towards our master's degree, and DFAS is paying for that. But we also have opportunities for associate's degree, bachelor's degree, in-house. They work with DFAS, the different schools. So it's all right there for you. And I think that we make the most of that opportunity by taking advantage of the classes.
Yes, thank you, Mona. I forgot to mention about the college aspect. The other benefit is we offer telework. So we offered telework before the pandemic. We've been utilizing telework for about a decade. I feel like it was around 2011, 2012. We slowly we're able to adapt every mission area to Telework to include the customer care center. They were the last area to be able to go out. We were able to get software to be able to allow them to work from home, which has been beneficial during the pandemic. All of our employees have been able to go out and work from home during this time frame. We are still, as you can see, I'm in my foyer working. We are still in a pandemic state, so our building at this time is not open. The majority of our staff is working from home. We're waiting on DoD guidance about and the state of the pandemic as to what we will look like in the future. You know, we do anticipate going back into the building. We're just not sure how that'll look, if it'll be 4 times a week, 1 time a week. I think that's just an evolution, and I think every business is dealing with that, right? So if that is a concern, I know like a lot of schools are just getting back in-person learning this week. I'm going to talk about the timeline of onboarding. Please don't let that deter you from applying, because if you apply today, you're not going to start with us until June. We are conducting on-the-job training through Telework. And I know, Mona, do you mind jumping in there? Because I think the call center really set the bar for that.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Yeah, when I first came into the position 2 years ago for the care center, with the CSRs were already teleworking 4 days a week. So moving into that 5-day full-time process was a big leap. The training portion was because we were doing that in-house. But now we have done the on-the-job training through our virtual reality that we're all living in, using all the equipment that we have. So when you're training with our staff, you can actually see their screens, hear them taking the call, and you're listening in as they're going through the process with our customer. And then once that training is done, then it flips to you taking the call if you were in the care center, and the trainer actually listening in, giving you tips. But you can see that all virtually, what screens are going on. We do the onboarding process all virtually, and what I call the in-classroom training is virtually, but it's all done where you can see the person's screen. You can listen, you call into a bridge line and listen to them talk. So we're able to accomplish that training without being in the building.
Thanks, Mona. So for Telework, any employee that lives, we have a 6-county Telework region. So if you live in the 6 counties, you are eligible to work from home. Those counties are Oneida, Oswego, Onondaga, Lewis, Herkimer, and Madison County. We do require people to live in those counties at this time. Obviously, anything could change at some point with DoD regulations, but that is where we need people to reside for these positions. You do not need to worry about equipment. We will issue you a government laptop once you onboard. I think the first few days of the onboarding, I think you do utilize, maybe, Mona, is that their personal laptops until they're issued on day 3, right?
Yeah, so our site support office works with the individuals to use your personal either laptop or smartphone to look through. I think it's called Adobe Connect, where they can see the what's it called? The presentation and hear the speaker through a bridge line. And then on day 4 is when they get their actual computers, and then they switch over to all DFAS stuff.
Yeah, thank you. And in those first few days, it's a little overwhelming for you anyway. That's really the all the HR stuff, right? Like setting up with the understanding of your withholdings, kind of going over some of the benefits, getting to know the different mission areas, the different managers brief.
Yeah, I usually tell folks it's a lot of information, pay attention to the benefits, and then have all that other information in your pocket. And then as you're growing and learning, then you pull it out when you need it. But I remember when we were onboarded for the first week, I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to remember all this stuff. And it's really just an overview of DFAS.
Exactly. So that's just kind of an overview of the job, of the benefits. And like I said, there's a lot of growth potential. So we're going to speak to more of the entry level GS5 jobs. We will be showing Usajobs where you apply. There is, I believe, out there a current announcement for our accounting series. Those are higher graded. They do require college education. The position that's out there requires a bachelor's degree. But it's applying for any of our jobs that are open to the public. It's the same steps. So if you hear me talking about a GS5 accounting technician, the tips that are in process are the same for the accountants. So you should be able to translate them over. I'm having this laptop sitting on my work computer and I'm hitting the keyboard from my work computer here. Okay, so this is the timeline that I referenced before. So I think typically in private industry, like you apply on Monday for a job announcement you see out there, and you might hear from their HR director on Tuesday and Wednesday. And by Friday, you know if you have the job and they're looking for you to start in 2 weeks. With the government, it is a lot more steps to that. So right now, so typically we post announcements on Usajobs and they're open for 2 weeks. We have a lot of growth right now and we are looking to onboard a substantial amount. So our announcements have been staying out there longer. But we're pulling names still every 2 weeks. So you may see a job announcement out there till May 15th, but when you go into it, it'll tell you the dates that we're pulling. So you can see the announcements out there for the 2 weeks. Once the names are pulled, our HR team at our Indianapolis office goes through and reviews the candidates and makes sure that everybody is eligible for the specialized experiments, which I will talk about in the next chart. So at that time, if the resume does not meet that qualification, the individuals get an email saying you're ineligible. So that's what we've been seeing in the last few months, a very high rate of ineligible emails throughout the area. From there, so once they do have the list, so say 100 people apply, 80 are deemed eligible, they send us that list of 80. And then our management team works through that. So we collectively share the list between the mission areas and we start reviewing the resumes and making determination. Typically, if we were in a typical season, hiring season, we would be at that time reaching out and scheduling interviews. So right now we are trying to onboard as many people as we can and timely. We are not always conducting interviews. So because of that, we're not calling you. We are simply communicating through email. So whatever email you put in your Usajobs profile and on your resume, please let that be an email address that you monitor regularly. We see a lot with college students, they use their college email that they don't always access when they're on break or away from school. So what will happen, what's happening right now with us not necessarily doing the interviews is if you are selected, you will get an email with a tentative offer from our HR liaison, our HR representatives out in Indy. You have a very short window. It's like 48 hours to respond back to that email. It'll take you to a link to accept the position. Once you've accepted the position, you will start the security process. So you have to have, you'll get an appointment for your fingerprints. There's another online security system that you'll access and you'll have to input over the last 10 years, all the positions that you've held, all of the addresses that you've lived at, all of the colleges that you've attended. And for each of those items that I just listed, you will have to provide a reference or two. And then you will also need to provide 3 character references. In those character references, you'll need the individual's name, phone number, and address. You also have to provide the name, phone number, and address for certain family members for them to conduct the security check on you. So it takes a little time to pull that data together. There is usually a timeline to submit your security data. The background check can take about like 4 to 8 weeks. I think right now we're running around a 6-week average. It really depends on the person, right? So for me, like if I was to apply to DFAS today and I have lived in the same address for 21 years. You know, I've only had one job, you know, so there's not as much for them to check on me versus someone that maybe has had 3 jobs and moved 4 times. It's going to take them a little bit longer to validate that the information is accurate. Once you come out of security and you've been deemed eligible for federal employment, you will receive a second email from our HR office, and that will be your firm job offer. So that's the first one is tentative because it's tentative that you get security clearance. Once you've got the security clearance, you get your firm offer, and they'll start coordinating an onboarding date for you. So the whole process, as you can see, if you apply this week and we were to I think we pulled names yesterday. So we're not pulling names again, at least for the accounting techs for 2 weeks. The process is pretty extensive. So anyone that's going to apply in the next 2 weeks that's watching this, you're probably looking at like June to onboard with us, maybe July. Now, we are flexible. We are trying to get people on sooner than later, but you know, we understand giving notice. We understand finding childcare. You know, if we email you and say, hey, can you start June 28th? And you really need until July 12th, we're going to be flexible with you. We just, you know, we don't want people to not apply because they know that they can't start until maybe August. Like, please start the process now and let us work with you after you're through security, because you never know along the way what's going to impact you. So that's kind of the timeline. And I like to spend a little time on this and going over it because I just feel that people have that different perception of private industry to the government world. And they think, oh, I applied on Monday, it's been 2 weeks, I haven't heard anything. And then they don't notice the email. And then they missed out on the opportunity. So, and I will tell you, and I'll probably mention this a few times, if you've already applied to one of our positions and you received the not eligible, or maybe you got a tentative offer and you missed the date, you can reapply. So you just, after the pull, you just resubmit your resume and application process. Until your application is pulled to HR, you can make updates to your resume at any time. So our next charts, this is the accounting technician position. So I'm just going to pause for 1 second. I just want to, you know, I know Tuesday when we had this, there's a lot of questions about how many positions. We don't have a magic number. I mean, I think Mona's really looking to get about 20 people for the customer care center. Our accounting technicians, we're looking for probably at least double that. Right now we have a lot of movement inside the building, so a lot of promotion of our current staffing. Obviously, you know how the trickle down effect, right? So as this person's promoted, then someone's promoted to their job. So until all the dust settles, we're not, I don't have an exact number. I can tell you, I'm trying to grow the site to about another 100. But I can't tell you the makeup of how many are going to be for Mona's team in the call center, how many are these accounting technicians, and how many are the accountant jobs. I will tell you that this is going to be across the summer, and at any time that we will have these announcements out there for the next several months. But a lot of our
Kristen, for the call center, we'll continue to hire as either people retire,
right.
We lose people to promotion. So we'll continue that process, as the care center is really like the entry level, and the accounting technician is the entry level into DFAS.
Right. And I think what's we've seen is, you know, DFAS Rome has always had this, we just really care for our customers, and we are very detail oriented, and people come into our agency or our site and they pick up on that and they want to do their best for these soldiers. And so a lot of our employees are promoted outside of Rome Ops. They'll go and work for some of our more overhead departments that are out of our headquarters office. So, like our strategy teams and that. So we have lost from that just because we build such rapport with the customers and such a great skill set of our employees that they are highly sought after. So that drives some of our vacancies too. And like Mona said, we have retirements every year. And so we are always hiring, and that's kind of how we got into the situation we are now. We've had some retirements, and we kind of took a strategic pause on hiring for a little while. And now we're trying to get caught up. So accounting technician. So as like Mona said, this is our entry-level position. It's a GS5. They start around $35,000 a year. It is a full-time position. Accounting technicians can work in any of our mission areas. We have them in accounts receivable, accounts payable, and travel pay. So you can see the duties here on the screen. I don't need to read them to you, but basically you're working with financial data, inputting it into an accounting system, working on any discrepancies and customer responses. So the bottom bullet is the specialized experience. And that is what HR looks for when they review your resume, when they pull from Usajobs. So they are looking for you to explain in the jobs that you've held where you have performed this experience. So performing duties that support the process of financial accounting transactions using a standard procedure that and you can see from here, it goes on and on. So basically, what we've noticed by the people that are being deemed ineligible, they're the more private industry, one-page resume with bullets, like self-starter, motivated, can multitask, works with customers daily, but we need a lot more. Our resumes are not one pages, they are not bullets, they are sentences. The process of applying it for DFAS, when you submit your resume, is not that hard. Writing your resume is going to take you the most time. So, and sometimes it's just, you just gotta kind of think outside of the box here. So performing duties that support the process of financial and accounting transactions. If you enter any kind of transaction into your current job that is used for billing or used for ordering, that's a financial transaction, and you just need to kind of spell that out in your resume. I think the example I gave Tuesday night was when we experienced the same thing a few years ago. I was reviewing resumes and I had an individual who had onboarded, and she had been a hairdresser for 20 years. And she onboarded, and a person that works as a cashier at a department store was deemed ineligible. And I questioned it. And the cashier, or the hairdresser, spelled out her steps more. So she had 20 years of experience of customer satisfaction experience. She addressed issues from her customer base, right? Someone didn't like their haircut, she fixed it, but that's how she wrote it. She paid the bills for her hairdressing and her hairs, for her booth rental fee, and submitted her tax documents. All that was deemed meeting the specialized experience. The cashier's bullet points were very generic. Like I said, self-starter, multitasking, dealing with customer, made no mention of handling cash or financial transactions. Obviously a cashier is doing that, right? So you just kind of need to tell us what you're doing in more detail. So this is the same exact chart for the contact representatives that would work for Mona. Same thing, you can see the first 1, 2, 3, 4 bullets are the duties. The final is the specialized experience. So just understanding policies and procedures and regulations and conveying them to the customer. So at any time, anyone that's done customer service has probably done that, right? They're upset with a policy that your company has and you have to explain it to them. That's what we're looking for there. So just, you know, and you can give examples in your resume. Like I had a customer one day who was very upset about this policy. I worked them through it and for full customer satisfaction. I think the next chart, okay. So the next chart, this kind of summarizes some of the stuff I've been talking about. You need to read the announcements very carefully and kind of focus on those requirements and qualifications. So requirements being, you know, the specialized experience and in the duties. Just describe how your work experience are compatible to these requirements. Like I said, just spell it out for us. You know, provide all the tasks that you do. You do not want the HR person to make assumptions. They're not going to make assumptions. They're reading hundreds of resumes a day. And they're not going to assume, well, it says cashier, but it doesn't mention you touching cash or making financial transactions. So they're not going to make that assumption for you. And, you know, we do not need it to be one page. We typically see 2 to 3 pages. Our internal ones are even longer. So, you know, again, if you have to take an extra sentence or two to spell something out so that they know that that's the accounting system, your team, your current position uses, that's fine. You know, if it's just Quicken Books, most people know that, but you can say our financial system. We've seen people, in order, again, to condense their resume using acronyms, which is definitely a DoD thing, but just using like the slang, like SAP for the software base instead of spelling it out. So we have some additional tips and resources. So these resources are out there to help you, and a lot of people don't know about them. So before I'm going to actually click on this first link. This is on our careers pages, and it's a lot of what I've already talked to, but I just want to focus on the second one. This onetonline.org is actually Working Solutions tool. So this is what I love about our collaborations with Working Solutions is they have this great resource. If you click on that, it lets you put in cashier and it gives you more detailed ways of writing the tasks that you would perform. Right, Terry? I mean, do you want to step in here? This is your area. I don't want to overstep. Oh, I think you're muted still.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
ONET Online is a tool that really blows out a job description and breaks it out into tasks in detail, just like Kristen described you need to express your relevant experience resume. So you're going to see tasks, tools, soft skills, all of that broken out maybe in 4 pages of a description of a cashier as an example. So try it out. You'd go to ONET Online, put in cashier, retail, teller, maybe some previous work that you've done that relates to the accounting experience or that is described, that will draw up key words that are in the accounting technician job description or in the contact representative job description, and you will get this 4-page list and then comb through it and think through what of those tasks actually you performed in your previous work. And you can even use the language there. It's expressed in strong, good verbiage, and you can lift it right from there if indeed that's work you've done.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when Terry showed me this a few years ago and I went out there, I was impressed. And you really can copy and paste and just convert it to sentences that fit your needs. I may have researched a little and used some of it for a write-up I was doing, but so I am I'm going to switch screens here in a few seconds and go over to this DFAS page and then kind of show you the Usajobs announcements. I'm not going to click on these bottom 3 links or the ONET link, but we will be providing these charts, so we'll have the links available to you. Usajobs has some additional information on how to apply and how the process works. Again, the process is a lot what I've already gone through with you. And then there's some videos out on YouTube that DFAS and OPM and Usajobs have out there about the application process. So let me just switch over to this DFAS resume one, which I have open already.
Yeah, while you're doing that, Kristen, I just wanted to add one thing. So say you just want to get your foot in the door at DFAS, the customer care center is a good way to get your foot in the door. You can then, after the year, try to go to the accounting technician. So don't streamline yourself just for one position. If you qualify for anything, I would apply for anything.
Right. Great point, Mona. And Mona and I are a little biased. Like, I was the call center director before Mona, and it was by far my favorite job I had. So, you know, being on the phones all day is hard, but I'm going to tell you, it is an amazing department. So don't let that deter you.
Yeah, second that. We've said, we've been in all different areas of DFAS. For the care center, it's a unique family-oriented experience for me. They really and I didn't know anything about the care center prior to coming here. They really opened up their arms and said, come on, we'll teach you and we'll back you up. And they all have that family-oriented feeling for all of the employees. Literally, if I was to pick up the phone and say, hey, I need some help, they would be at my door within minutes. So It's just that kind of feeling that I liked everywhere I have been, but the care center is just different.
Absolutely. So this is our DFAS website. This is dfas.mil, and I am filtered onto our careers section. This is the tips. So it kind of walks through the same things that I've talked about expanding on your experience and justifying that you are qualified. I'm not necessarily going to read this because I'm not a good reader and speaker, but basically it is a lot of the same things I've said. I actually copy and pasted a few sentences from here, but it does provide you a sample resume, which I'm going to open, and it has a lot of frequently asked questions. So, you know, Mona and I, like I said, we're not HR experts, we're managers. We're trying to get people in. We're trying to help our teams out by onboarding and helping you guys get in the door. So that's kind of why we're here. We're not necessarily have any deep, dark DFAS secrets to give. It's just kind of what we see people stumbling on to get to us. But like I said, a lot of information's out there. It's just nobody knew where to go get it, right? So this is a sample resume, and you can see, you know, it's not bullets. It's, you know, this individual had a job with the Department of ABC. It's a couple paragraphs of her duties and some of her accomplishments. And it's same thing. Oops. I should have, not very good with this mouse on this laptop. I apologize. Same thing for the other positions. Shows her education, shows the completion date, doesn't leave anything to be guessed, right? And I would say just because this sample, this individual is only a half a page or less than half a page, if you need to fill a full page on your current job, there's no right or wrong. Like you don't need to follow this exact template, but what we're trying to do is get you away from those quick bullets. Just kind of, how would you, if you sat down at the table with me right now, and how would you tell me what you did? What do you do in your job that would relate to what I need you to do at DFAS? So that's what really this paragraph here at the top should be. Again, you don't need to lay it out with the accomplishments, but you know, anything you can do, whatever, however you need to fit that specialized experience in so that you can show that you can do the job, please put that in there. So what I wanted to just quickly hop over to, Nicole, that went to the Usajobs, right? You can see that. Okay, good. Okay, so this is Usajobs. I've already filtered. I just filtered on Rome in the Defense Finance and Accounting Service. It automatically goes to 25 miles. And I did filter by what's open to the public. So these are positions, anything with this little icon with 3 little people here is open to the public. This is the same website we use for our internal promotions. So if I were to uncheck this, you can see we have 9 announcements out there, including what is open to the public. So this is the same thing that you'll use once you're on board and you're trying to promote and further your career. So we've gotten a few extras since Tuesday's announcement or Tuesday's class with Working Solutions. So here's the accounting tech and contact rep. And this is our accountant position that I mentioned. This is the one that requires a bachelor's degree. And we will be posting a financial analyst, which does not require a bachelor's degree, but requires 24 hours of accounting. You do not have to have your degree yet.
And Kristen, AP and finance are reviewing that right now. So that should be coming out any moment.
Perfect. And again, we don't know the numbers yet for these positions, but this is how we always recruit fill. So if you don't get in this summer, you know, you can always monitor this website. You can always tell your friends and family to monitor this website and get information. So just to show the accounting technician, everything's here. This is a full detail of our position. So you can see this announcement, like I said, we typically would post for 2 weeks. We continually extend these because we do have the need right now. I actually think we're going to repost this one after the 28th versus extend it. But again, just keep monitoring this USA website. So it gives you, again, telework eligible. So here's the duties, and this talks, here's the dates of when we're going to pull the list under the summary. Here's the full details of responsibilities. You know, I had condensed it down to 4. And if you scroll down below, qualifications, actually I should scroll up just a little. There are some conditions for employment, so you do need to be a US citizen. And then here's the background check that we already talked about and being deemed suitable for federal employment. And then it goes into the details of the specialized experience, which is exactly what I had on the chart. So you can, any position that you're applying for, you can always get this information. Certain volunteer work will work. And then if you have a degree, if you lay that out in your resume, that can help you qualify for specialized experience too. Typically a bachelor's degree deems you qualified. If you have an associate's degree in a certain related field, it will help go towards your specialized experience. So, you know, I scroll down, there is the, oh, geez. You can, these jump you to it also. So what I typically do is, I tell people is copy and paste these duties or the specialized experience to your Word document. And then as you build your resume, you can delete them as you added them to the duties in your current job or just check them off somehow. Once you have your resume ready, you can create hit apply now. And if you already have a profile, you would log in or you can create a profile. And it'll walk you through asking you some basic questions. And from there, you'll upload your resume and submit it. And then it asks you a few questions about the position and submits it. You'll see it, it'll be in a pending status for a little while until HR absorbs the application, and then it'll say submitted. You can, like I said, you can go back and resubmit and make updates until we pull your name on those 2-week polls. So that was my main presentation. I wanted to give us time to answer some questions. Mona, is there anything you had to add before we switch to QA?
I would just restate what you were saying about the specialized experience and the responsibilities. Really look at those documents, and I'm sure that everyone has different experiences they can pull from to cater into create something into that format that we need. Just don't, and I know if being from the outside, we want a short and sweet resume, but really use, like Kristen was saying, her resume is long, mine is 6 to 7 pages. So, and it depends on the position. So just don't have one position or one resume for that position. I would create different resumes for each position, just so you can make sure you're gearing it towards that position.
Yeah. And it's walking through this, like the submitting the resume process is pretty quick. It'll probably take you like 30 minutes. It's literally the hardest part is just building that resume. So Nicole, I see there's like 8 Q&A and some chat questions. So
Yes, if you're ready, Kristen, we can go ahead and move to Q&A.
okay.
Awesome. Okay,
I
so
feel like I'm in the hot seat.
well, you know what? You did really good with question and answer last time, so I think you're ready. First question is, if you work as a DoD civilian, can you transfer the accrued annual and sick leave over?
I believe as long as you don't have a break in service, it'll carry over, and they can find guidance on that on the OPM website.
Okey-doke. Mackenzie would like to know if this is flexible with schooling. She has 1 semester left until she gets her degree in accounting. She wanted to apply for the accounting tech position because that's what she plans on doing after receiving her degree.
Well, like I said, in the timeline, we're probably not, by the time you get cleared, it'll be June. So I don't know if she still has a semester in the fall. But we are working with people on those EOD dates when they clear. So if there's a need, we would work through that with her.
Excellent. Thank you. What if someone does not have accurate or exact dates for prior employment for the last 10 years? Would that automatically disqualify you?
No, you just, when you do the security, it'll ask you your dates. If you don't know exact, you just, you put in your best known truthful estimate, and just let the security, I believe there's an area for comments, and you can just say weren't sure of the exact date. So
Is there hourly or salary, which I'm assuming it's salary?
So it's a 40-hour work week. We do not do part-time, everything's 40 hours. So technically we do our time cards by 15-minute segments, but we show everything in the salary form. So it's $35,000 a year for starting.
And what would be the way to get an increase in that? I see a few people asking about increases or a way to up the pay for the accounting technician. Do you have any suggestions on that?
So we are bringing everyone in as a step, GS5 step 1 at this time. That's the 35,000. So after your 1 week or your 1 year, you'll go to step 2, step 3, step 4, progressively on your anniversary date. And those steps are laid out again on OPM's website. You can look up the pay scale for our area. After year 4, 5, and 6, it's every other, and then 7, 8, 9 is every 2 years. So what's also not accounted for is if they're in the budget, there's any cost of living. So, for me, my anniversary date is August. August, I get my step increase, and then January, if the budget is passed with federal cost of living, I get another raise in January.
Yeah, and Kristen, this is Mona. I just want to make a note. When you're looking at OPM for salaries, Rome is listed as the rest of the United States. So you
Yeah.
won't find it listed separately.
All righty. We've got some more questions coming in. So for example, if someone has applied in November and they haven't heard anything, they should maybe revise their resume with the tools that you've given them today and resubmit.
Yeah, so you should be able to, if you still have your login information for USA Jobs, you should be able to go into your history and see the status. I would say if you applied in November, you were deemed ineligible or not selected for some reason, and you should see not selected. I would highly recommend you take what you heard today, look at the resume you've submitted, and build upon that and resubmit.
So moving to some of the questions that we've had in the chat. How does this work for older job applicants or those with disabilities? It seems that these factors discourage some job seekers competing in today's competitive market.
If someone has any kind of a disability, they just need to declare that and we will accommodate them. In doing so, as long as they're still eligible to do the required duties of the position. And so let me switch back over to this one. Oh. And I didn't give this, but in every announcement, there is our agency HR Customer Center. So if you have questions about such a disability or any concerns, you can reach out to them. The numbers there on the screen and the email address. I'm not sure of their turnaround time right now. It's like how quickly they're getting back to you, but this information is available in every announcement.
Thank you.
And just to touch on one more thing, like I think you mentioned older, when we get the lists, we get your resume and your name and your address and your contact information. We don't get your age unless, we do not spend the time looking at your high school graduation date and doing the math. We onboarded every age group. We have people that have been eligible for retirement for years and they're still with us. My father actually retired last week from DFAS, or at the end of March from DFAS at 62, and we onboarded him at the age 57. So.
Yeah, and we have a variety of people that have completed their profession doing something else, and this is their second career that they've come to. So I know for the care center, we have all different kinds of people. We really are just looking for people to serve our service members and civilian customers.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
Right. We just want people, if you're willing to work, we want you working with us. And like my dad was security for 30 years before coming to accounting technician work. So.
Thank you so much, ladies. I appreciate that. Moving along, just to clarify, we have a question coming in from Susan about part-time work. These positions are all full-time, but does usajobs.gov offer any part-time positions?
So right now DFAS is offering, we have part-time work. It's really, it's not part-time, it's shared. So if you and another person can do the same tasks, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, that's how it works. It's a little convoluted. We typically onboard for 40 hours. But when you're in USA Jobs, so this is the main page when you go to usajobs.gov, Nicole, that is showing, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good. You can put in your area code. I'm just gonna put in Rome here. And this is gonna bring up every job announcement in within 25 miles of Rome. And then, I don't know. So my Zoom stuff's visible here. On this right-hand side, there's different ways to filter based on pay, so many different things. There's even more filters than, ooh, I should have attached my mouse. So you can click on these additional features, you can do, there's one part-time announcement out there with the Department of Treasury. So it's, right, this is a volunteer taxpayer, but everything's out here. This is what we use for the government. And I think, I know this came up the other day and I should have touched on this during the presentation. We do give a special preference to veterans.
Yes, I remember that being a question from the last one. Thank you, Kristen.
Mhm.
Another question I think that I've seen a few times is what are the general hours for the positions, not just for the accounting, but also for call center?
Okay, so the hours, when you're in training, there might be a little deviation here, right? Because you have to be married up to who, when we're doing the training. But once you're on your own, for the majority of the building, we have a flex start time. So you can start anytime between 6:30 and I think the core hours are 6:30 and 8 or 8:30. The majority of our work staff, they all kind of come in around 7:30, I think is the majority. Although now that we're working home, like I'm starting at 6:30. So it's an 8-hour day. Most people take a half-hour lunch, but you can change that to an hour as long as then you add the hour at the end of the day. The call center is a little different because they have to match up to their phone volume and when the phones are on. So I will defer to Mona.
Yep, when we start, you'll be training from that 7:30 to 4 shift, because like Kristen said, you have to marry up with a trainer. But once you start working, it's 9 to 5:30. And after you have learned all the different skill sets that we have for phone lines and can be on your own, we do have shift bids throughout the year, and we have different shifts starting at 7:15 with our latest being at 9 o'clock.
Thank you, Mona. And I have a couple questions here regarding the salary, which I think that you touched on. Jennifer was asking about the salary, whether it's based on experience or whether it's fixed. And I believe you said that you come in and it's fixed.
Yes, yep.
Okay, so salary is fixed. And are the employees paid bi-weekly or monthly? How does the pay schedule work?
We are paid bi-weekly. So we have 26 pay periods in a year. So you would get paid after your third week. So you'll start on the first Monday of the pay period, and then your pay will be in on that third Friday.
Mary has a master's degree in accountancy and a bachelor's in accounting, and she's been trying to apply with DFAS for years and she's unable to get in. Would you recommend that she uses some of these tips to?
Yes, absolutely. Make sure that, and make sure you show that you have your degree. Don't just state your degree, please state your year of graduation so that they know that you already have it. It's not something you're working towards.
I really think that it's also super important, and I think you've highlighted this in both meetings, how your resumes for DFAS look entirely different than your average corporate resume. So you're looking for something that's a little bit longer. I think one of those key points that you were hitting, which was super important, is that you really want to steer your applicants away from those quick bullets where that's really what we're ingrained to do.
Right.
So
Yeah.
maybe those resumes are longer.
Yeah, it's almost like a brief of your job. You're going to give us a recap, not a paragraph recap of your duties.
What would you say to someone who has been out of the job market for a while and is a little bit concerned about the gaps in their resume?
I get that. We've seen that. I have an employee that just popped into my head, and as soon as you said that had a 2-year, this individual had a 2-year gap. We onboarded her. She was very upfront in the interview and said it was due to medical, and she chose to be a caretaker for her family. We've all seen a variety of those scenarios. We understand it. If we're there's probably still stuff you can list if there are certain things you're doing from home on there. We are looking for more of the business setting experience, but things come up. We get that. Like we have employees on leave without pay for medical need or to care. So we understand life happens.
Thank you. I'm sure that's very reassuring for a lot of folks. Because I think that that's something that happens to more people than we would expect. Chris says he ran his own company for 11 and a half years. Would that experience qualify him for the financial analyst position? And I think you would say it depends on how you word it.
It's definitely going to depend how you word it. That announcement's not out here. You'll have to match up what is in the experience. So let me see if I can. I would say watch this week, and this is the accountant. This one requires the bachelor's degree. There is like the option for how you can use experience to come in. You have to show this is all, well, this one is your education. But look for that financial analyst. Look at what's here for requirements and qualification, and really elaborate on the tasks that you're doing. Now, keep in mind, you can still come in through you can apply for the GS5 still. And then when we post these accountant and financial analysts, we also post them internally too. We pull from both lists. So once you have internal experience, that's only going to help you even more.
Megan is curious to find out if you're transferring in as a GS7 from another agency, would you still be hired as a GS5?
Can we just get her contact information and we'll reach out to her? I would need guidance from HR on how they would handle her grade, and it would probably depend on which agency she's with.
Okie doke. So if we can post that HR number, I can certainly give that to her as well. I remember it was
Yes,
a 7. Yes. Okay. So I've got her question here. So Megan, I will share that that HR number with you, and that way we can go ahead and help you a little bit further.
And this is Mona. I just wanted to make one comment. I don't know if, and excuse me if we already talked about it, the locality for the position has to be within our counties that touch Oneida County. So Kristen, did you talk that for this time? I can't remember.
I think I listed the 6 counties, but way at the beginning. So if you want to go over it again, it probably wouldn't hurt.
So we just need to, when you're applying and you're out of state, especially, I've had a few individuals come into the care center where they're working from Florida or Texas, and they still want the position. You have to be within those counties that Kristen listed on the PowerPoint to be able to telework. We don't have remote telework that you can be out of state. You have to be within the range that is listed. So many folks have moved to the area, so I'm happy about that. It brings more to our economy here locally. And I know Kristen has, but I've lived here my whole entire life. So I really enjoy this area, the different seasons, but that's one of the requirements.
And just those 6 counties again are Oneida, Oswego, Oneonta, Lewis, Herkimer, and Madison counties.
Thank you so much. Super helpful. Yeah, a lot of people were asking about the telework. And one of the questions I have specifically, thank you, Terry, for putting that in the chat. One of the questions I have specifically about telework is, and this might be one of those things where it's, we cross this bridge when we get to it. But what is it going to be like for the account tech who's currently working remotely after the pandemic is over? Will they return to the office 5 days a week?
So that's an evolving situation right now. We don't have the posture for our end state post pandemic. We don't know what's going to come down from DoD or DFAS management. Like each missionary had a little bit different timeline from when they were in the building. If someone was teleworking, they're at least teleworking 1 to 2 days a week. I would hazard a guess we might see that more. I know the call center teleworked 4 days a week. So it is, until we get that regulation guidance, we don't know yet.
Thank you, Kristen.
but we're very flexible with, with times. Mona's area is a little bit more structured because of the calls and the call volumes, but if you're working from home and you can start at 6:30, but like for me, when I have to report in the building, I've gone in a few times, I go in once a week. I have to go in later to get my daughter on the bus. So we're being very flexible with people.
Is there a history for layoffs of data analyst positions and customer service reps offshore, like most large companies?
No, we have not had layoffs. So in 2006, there was a BRAC and several DFAS locations at that time were condensed, and Rome and Limestone in Maine grew from about 300 people to 1,000. We have 5 locations: Indianapolis, Columbus, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, Rome, and Limestone, Maine. Our staffing levels fluctuate just based on customer needs, right? So based on how much the Army's moving soldiers, and there is fluctuation. And then there's, like we said, the churn. We've always had enough churn with retirements and employees being picked up by other agencies. We have never done layoffs.
Thank you for that. Are there any positions that don't require college degrees?
Yes, the 2 entry-level positions for the contact rep and the accounting technician, you do not need to have a college degree.
Excellent. What about the ability to cross-train?
Oh, we have lots of cross-training opportunities. So we offer developmental, where you can go, like, I'm actually on a developmental right now. So I'm normally the division chief at General Ledger. They moved me for a developmental opportunity to the site support director. We do that throughout the agency or throughout the site. We also have certain mission areas that have really high volume for a small period of time that we can't necessarily staff them fully. So we allow people to go help them and learn about that. And it really helps for them to see the end to end. So, Mona will tell you, she has, I think, 13 people from accounts payable helping the call center during tax season. And then she gives up 8 people to go help travel pay when the Army typically moves a lot of people during the summer.
I love that. I've always loved the opportunity to cross-train. I really feel like that's my employer showing that they're invested in me as much as I'm invested in them. Letting me have that opportunity.
Right.
Is super key. Just a couple more questions. We're almost done. You're doing great, Kristen. You're firing off those answers perfectly. We just got a question in. Is there a healthcare fee, or is there a fee for it once? I know you said that healthcare is a benefit for being a full-time employee, but do you have to pay out of pocket for healthcare?
There are employee premiums for each of the different healthcare benefits. I believe they're available by region on the OPM website already. They should be out there now for our current, and then they get updated in the fall for the next calendar year rates. I think we have like 4 or 5 different, healthcare, MetLife, different providers, and then there's self, family, plus one. So they all range, right, based on coverage and what the premium is.
Going back to resumes for a moment, do these resumes require a cover letter, or are they just submitting the resume?
Just submit your resume.
Okay.
People do. We'll read them if you submit them, but we're not gonna, it doesn't matter. Save yourself some time. Go have an ice cream with the kids.
Courtney was watching, I think on Tuesday. She said, I know some names were pulled yesterday. If we were one of those names, when would we be notified? And if not, when will additional names be pulled?
So because there should have been a poll yesterday, you could apply today, and typically it takes them about 2 weeks to go through what's pulled and deem eligible. I would start monitoring your email, as soon as tomorrow through next week, and just watch for emails. So again, though, we'll probably hear from that list next week. So sorry. They'll provide us management a list within the next couple weeks, and then we'll make our selections and send it back to HR Indy, and then they'll reach out. So you'll probably not hear anything for 2 or 3 weeks at the earliest, and just monitor that email. You'll see something, subject line, and probably says Defense Finance and Accounting Service, might even say tentative offer. Just keep an eye out.
Excellent.
Mention the time stamp on that return email, if there's a limited time to respond.
Yeah, so we asked that you respond in about 48 hours with accepting, so that we can get you started on the security process.
And I'm seeing now, Kristen, that you have the page pulled up to the HR number. So attendees, here it is, area code 317-212-0454. We're seeing this on Kristen's page. This is for those specific questions related to your personal experience, something that maybe we can't answer in a broad answer. So please feel free to jot this down and give them a call if you have any questions. Thank you, Terry. Just put it in the chat. You can literally just copy and paste it. Just a few more questions here. I'm considering continue my education in forensic accounting or cybersecurity. And after I get my criminal justice degree, are there positions for these?
I would monitor the Usajobs. We do have a team of, with the call center and with our system. We do have security technicians. We have, internal review process. They will be posted out here. I'm not sure how often they post publicly versus internally, but you definitely use the Usajobs. Go ahead and click sign in and build yourself a profile now. And then what you can do is there's a feature in there that lets you get emails when DFAS posts jobs. So you just turn that feature on while you're building your profile.
Thank you so much. 2 more left, 2 more. You're almost done. Someone was asking about the tips that we have been giving, and just to reiterate, this is all going to be sent out via email after the fact. This meeting has been recorded as well. So please keep an eye out on your email, and also you should be keeping an eye out anyway, because that is where you are going to be receiving your information. Also, Trinity wants to know, she has 1 year left at college. She's wondering if she'd be able to apply for the accounting tech position since she hasn't graduated just yet.
Yes, accounting tech does not need a college education, so she can apply for that. To apply for the accountant position, there is a time frame to apply. Like, you have to be within so close of your degree. I don't know if it's outlined in here. That might be a question for HR on your degree. I know it's like it's 30 or 60 days in anticipation of graduating, but it's probably out here somewhere. I'm sorry, I'm not an HR expert. I'm just trying to help you guys. But if it's not here, I would just contact the HR, or even it might be more in our career areas. There's some frequently asked questions there. It might be outlined there for you too. You just got to dig a little.
And last one about that accountant position is someone qualified with an associate in accounting degree as well as internship experience? Would that qualify them to be the accountant?
It would depend, I think, on their internship experience and if it fits whatever's here for qualifications. But the accounting position does require a bachelor's degree. The financial analyst that is being posted this week does not. It just requires 24 hours of credit, of 24 hours of accounting credits. That will be posted this week, and that would definitely be eligible. It's the same, come in as the same pay scale as a 7. You come in as a 7 if you're meeting your requirements and your standards and performing successfully on your 1 year anniversary, you go to a GS9. Same thing a year later, you go to a GS11. So that's why there's a substantially larger jump in pay scale here.
Thank you so much. Okay, we've done it. We have made it to the end of the Q&A.
Great.
Thank you so much to everyone who has attended. We peaked at 95 attendees, which is amazing. Thank you so much. I see positive feedback coming back in the chat. We really, really appreciate it. Our presenters were fabulous today. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Mona. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Alice. We did it.
And offer people, if you do have questions that we can help you with, we'll try at Working Solutions. You can contact the Working Solutions centers and we will either be able to answer your questions or forward them to Kristen if need be. But we're here to help you with these jobs and all jobs. But I hope everyone has taken one thing from this, and that is that you really need to put together a real detailed job description and really blow it out. That really for most jobs in the public sector, you have to take a civil service test. I always tell people this is your test for the DFAS jobs to see whether you can follow the directions on the website and be the kind of detail-oriented person they're looking for to perform the task every day. And as a result, you've got an opportunity for a job that can give you great worker satisfaction, great benefits. And we always hear from DFAS people that there's a great team spirit there and a terrific place to work. So thank you, Kristen, for your help.
Thank you guys for having us and hosting us.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Look for your email.